Good morning. Just show me how to format cells in Excel. So we're going to be using this here, and let me zoom in a little bit so we can see. What we're going to do is we'll just grab a cell here, any cell, and on the mouse you're going to notice that there's two buttons generally on a mouse, a left button and a right button. And I always like to tell you that the left button is the select button and the right button is the options button. So if you're looking at it, the left one is the select or choose, and the right one is the options. What options do I have to choose from? So I'm going to right click this cell, and you'll notice that here it says format cells, and I'm going to grab that. All right, so I'm selecting that with my left click. And there's a lot of options here of what we can do with this formatting of this cell. What I want to have you look at is this alignment tab, all right? So this alignment tab has a couple things that are really interesting. One is wrap text, shrink to fit, and merge cells. So first of all, we're going to click the select, the left button for wrap text, and hit OK. And I'm going to show you what that does. If I have a long sentence, and so I'm just going to write more in here, third shift at work. When I add extra to it, notice that it has filled this whole row and made that row bigger to accommodate the fact that that is all in there, because I have, and again I'm going to right click, I'm going to go to format cells, because I've clicked wrap text. So that text is going to wrap. Now, that's not always the optimal thing to do. In fact, maybe what you want to do is shrink to fit. So I'll hit OK. So now it has shrunk those words to fit the column width that we had selected. Now, if you remember, if we want to make this column wider, we can grab it with our left click and hold down, grab to how wide we want it, and then let go. And you'll notice this has shrunk those words to accommodate whatever space you're giving it. Now let me go the other direction. I'm getting between, so my mouse changes. I click the left and hold, I drag, and I'm gonna let go. And now look, this is teeny tiny. Now you still can read it up in this column here where this is your kind of your work area, but it's teeny tiny. And so maybe that's not optimal. So just remember, just a little side note, if you want to, let's see what happens here. I'm gonna double click this. And interestingly enough, when you double click the line between, it automatically makes that column as wide as it needs to be to accommodate the longest words in there. All right, now let's go back to here. We're going to right click again. We're going to go back to format cells, and I'm going to unclick shrink to fit. I don't really want it to wrap because it's going to make my rows wider. So I'm going to just hit OK here for a second. And in terms of fixing this so it goes back to saying third shift at work, I could click in here and just type third shift again, or I could click up here and then just backspace and then hit enter, and then that fixes it. I'm going to undo and show you what happens if I do it the other way. If I'm in here and I just start typing, notice it all goes away. So, but then it comes back in based on what I've already written that column. So that's a handy little detail that let's just pretend that this guy's third shift. If I just write third, it finishes out because there's only things like that in the column. And so if I write second, it auto-fills, which is kind of handy. So we'll hit save. Okay, now let's do something else here. You notice that these things are in one cell. Pre-tax is in one cell, after-tax is one cell. But weekly, it is centered on two cells. Well, how in the world do you get to do that? Well, let's show you some ways people try to do that don't ever work. I'm in above it, just so you can see. I'm going to write weekly. But you notice that weekly is in the cell, and it's all the way over to the left of this cell. So just for fun, if I click on this and I go over here, this is where we can align it left, or we could align it right, or we could align it center, but it's aligning it center or left or right to this particular cell, not this particular set of columns. So there's another little icon for me to teach you how to use. I'm going to go back to left just for fun here. And what you do is you take as many cell columns as you want to incorporate, and you see that little dot at the bottom. You get your mouse to change, so it's just the little plus sign. You click the left and hold, and you drag to however many cells you want. All right, now, first of all, there's something else I just did that I'll have to teach you later. But what we're going to try to do is, you see this merge and center? We're wanting to merge and center these two cells. So let me click it and see what happens. All right. It merged these two columns together when I clicked that merge and center. All right, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to write, let me do this. I'll do it without any text in it first. I'm going to grab, click and hold, drag, let go, and then I'll click back in here and I'm going to write weekly. All right, and I'm going to click. I apologize. Let me try that again. Merge and center. All right. I'm going to do the same thing over here. You'll notice that this one is centered on 3. G, H, and I are all one group. And so if I merge and center, I'm undoing that. And so now put weekly over here in the G column. But if I want that to be over all 3, then I hit the merge and center, and it centers it on those 3. All right, that's how that works. Now there's something that's interesting while we're at it. If we want to copy something from one cell to another, so this is the cell I want, and I again grab that little thing, I'm going to press and hold. This time I'm going to go to the left just to make it easier, and I'm going to drag to the left, and I'm going to let go. Now see what happened? It took this 2 columns that we had linked together, and it copied it so that this weekly is centered on those 2 columns. Now see how that works? I'm going to undo what I did. But let's use this third shift down here. I'm going to grab that little corner, press and hold. I'm going to drag backwards and let go. And what it did, oh, that's interesting, okay, is it copied that over to the previous one. Now let me do it again, but I'm going to go further. And I don't know if you saw that, but it was smart enough to say, you know what, this is a progression. Third shift, second shift, first shift. So it actually was smart enough to say, you know what, he must be wanting to create first shift, second shift, and third shift. I could also grab that column and hit copy, and then I could just grab those 2 cells and I'm going to hit paste. And now it puts third shift in both. So that is super interesting of how that can work. Sometimes it's smart enough, sometimes it's not. Let's try something else over here. I'm just going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to grab those, and I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to drag. Now look just to the right of my mouse. It's got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm going to let go. It knew that I was doing a progression, and so that just made it nice and quick and easy to label those and number them. So if I wanted to, I'm going to grab that again from here to here, and now it's with my left click, and Now I'm grabbing my little thing and I'm going to just drag all the way down. I'm going to let go. And so that quickly did the progression. All right, so that is pretty slick in terms of working within some cells. So that's enough for today's lesson. Thanks for joining me. Take care.